Growing up, being a black woman who is slightly strange, weird, a little bit off-putting, can really shape the way you see yourself as an adult black woman. And I guess the term we use these days is an awkward black girl. And I classify myself as an awkward black girl. And the question I'm going to ask myself this episode is, am I an awkward black girl or am I just me? Are you an awkward black girl or are you just you? Hey guys, welcome back to Hush. I'm talking, babe, where I talk and you listen. Yes, I'm back again. I was gone for a while. I know, I'm sorry. People told me not to give up, so I'm up. I didn't give up, but I'm up now. I took a break because I'm just gonna be straightforward with this so I can get into the episode. I took a break because I did not know why I was doing it, because I felt insecure, and because I was tired. I didn't know what I was doing with it, so I was feeling very self-conscious about the views that I was getting. I would spend so much time filming a video, editing a video, only to get 10 views every week. And it was like, wow, okay, sometimes less than that. Sometimes there was one podcast, hey, I had 2 views. You lot are rude. I had 2 views. And I said to myself, okay, that humbled me the down. Like, oh my days. Like, you lot really don't care. So I was like, okay. I think it doesn't have 2 views anymore, but I had 2 views for a very long time. And I said that I didn't care about the views, but of course, when you put your hard work into something and you're speaking your mind and no one gives a toss, that's difficult. So yeah, I cared and I took a break. 2, yeah, I was essentially feeling insecure about the views. Yeah, I was also not completely comfortable with what I was talking about. And the whole point of me doing this as well was to kind of step out of my comfort zone, do something that I've always wanted to do. Then I thought to myself, is this really something? I went on a whole whirlwind about thinking about what I'm actually doing and the purpose of me doing things and the purpose of me creating certain stuff. And I was just like, maybe I should just stop. Also, I was doing way too much in terms of doing this here, this. I was really trying to utilize those 24 hours in a day at some point, and I was trying to chase the bag. I was trying to chase goals, but the goals were running from me. The goals were running from me because I was doing way too much. I was talking the talk. I was not walking the walk. I was not actually practicing what I was preaching, and I felt that was wrong. So I had to take a break because I was just doing way too much. This episode is about being an awkward black girl. As a black woman, if you're watching this as a black woman, you understand what that means. I know I've been told that I'm weird, and I guess I come out as an awkward black girl because I guess that's what I am. But I've come to a point of where I like who I am and I can always be better, of course, but I'm an ever-evolving being. Do you get it? So I can say that I like the fact that I'm a little bit weird and slightly off-putting and awkward. But when I was younger, that was a big issue for me. I genuinely did not like the fact that I was weird, and that was my biggest insecurity. Over everything, over looks, it was my personality. I thought I was just an insane human being. I just thought I was a serious weirdo. And I think when you're 13 and your hormones are all over the place, of you feel a lot of things about yourself and you say a lot of bad things to yourself that you shouldn't. But yeah, I really did think I was a weirdo. And I think there is still a part of those feelings stuck in my body, but they don't really come out. But it's still in the sense of whenever I'm in any new space or I'm around other black people, whenever I walk into a room with black people, first thing I do is gauge their vibe. I'm like, okay, are y'all like me? Like, do y'all get what I'm trying to spit? Like, because there's certain topics that I have certain opinions on that I have to keep my mouth shut, that I will never ever ever do an episode on, because I'm just not about to put that on social media. I'm just not about to do that to myself. It's nothing bad, nothing cancelable, but this is not a discourse podcast at all. But when I walk into a room with other black people, I just need to gauge if y'all get me. Like, I need to gauge if you will accept me for who I am. I want to walk into a room and feel accepted for everything that I am, so I can fully be myself. And there are very minimal places in life that you're actually able to be yourself fully. Like, as we all know, when you walk into a space at work, you're probably not fully yourself. There's a certain way you need to carry yourself, of course, to be in said rooms. And I guess the places that you really want to feel at home are with the people that you love and surround yourself by. And I am very lucky to have some spaces where I feel like I completely can be myself. Like, I can be the weirdo that I am, and I am accepted for that. Like, I do have spaces like that. But and I probably will find more spaces like that, but it did take me a while to get there, and I didn't have that for a long time. I was told that I was an Oreo. Everyone knows, like, black on the outside, white on the inside. For no other reason than the fact of the way I speak and the way I act. Like, I didn't act black enough. And I speak posh. That's always been a thing. I feel like all my siblings, we all get told that we sound posh. Now, getting older, everyone's kind of woken up a bit. But I think definitely back then, at that time, people associated being well-spoken with being white. So whenever a black person was well-spoken, it was associated with being white or an Oreo, which didn't make sense. Or if you liked certain type of things, certain type of music, you are seen to be white, or you're trying to act white, because you are not in the box of what a black person should like. And I feel like society has woken up a bit more past that, but back then that was a thing, and that got to me a lot. So I tried to conform and pretend I like certain things and certain music, and dress a certain way, and I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. And then I think around like 14, 15, no, maybe 15, 16, I definitely started to discover a bit more about myself. And then obviously going to sixth form, college, whatever, I guess I kind of had a transformation where I think I definitely matured a bit more, and I grew into myself, and I kind of accepted that I'm a little bit, it was kind of my thing to be a bit, like, to not be in this like box of how certain like mainstream black women should be. And I've grown into that more and more and more, and now I don't really see it, like, it's not really black and white like that, but I am confident in my own sense of style, in who I am as a person. And like I said before, I'm an ever evolving being, but I am pretty comfortable with who I am. Like, I like myself. I love myself, actually. I really do. And I'm never gonna stop loving myself. So yeah, like, I like who I am, but that has taken a like whole journey. Like, I built this shit brick by brick. Like, I definitely have had all these different eras, like any teenager has had. And now being in my 20s, I guess I'm 20, but being in my 20s, like, I can look back and say that, yeah, all of these different things that people have said to me have kind of cemented in me slightly, that has made me feel slightly awkward, because I've never actually fit into majority of the black spaces that I've walked into. And I guess a lot of creative black people as well tend to only really stick into those creative spaces, because I definitely think a lot of those people were told when they were younger that they were weird and awkward and they liked strange things. And I guess the creative space is a space where all of those people can unite. And I guess all of my friends are actually creative. Any black woman friend I have is incredibly talented and creative, and I'm very lucky to have a lot of black women friendships that we are all a little bit weird and off-putting, and we are not all the same. All of our styles are completely different, but we share things in common. Obviously, that's why we're friends. But like, we can share the fact that we're all a little bit weird, and we've all had the experience of people telling us that we're weird and awkward, and we've all felt like we haven't fit in, and we kind of found that space between all of us in that sisterhood of feeling like that. And yeah, I now, when I'm around my black female friends, I never feel inferior. I never feel like I'm awkward, and I never feel like I'm pushing to be a certain person. I am allowed to be exactly who I am, and I don't get judged for it. Like, I've never really had that, and to have that is such a blessing. I feel so grateful to have to be around a lot of black women who don't make me feel like I'm a freak. Like, I can actually be the silliest version of myself, and they will either join me and be stranger, or like literally just accept what I'm saying and what I'm doing. But the point of what I'm saying is, why is it called awkward black girl? Like, do you get it? Like, why is it a thing that it's an awkward black girl? Like, why is it not just that person? Why is it this term that we have created of awkward black girl? Like, I see it everywhere, like awkward black girl series, awkward black girl. Like, yes, and I feel like we found comfort in that. I definitely think in the black community, sometimes when we get called bad things, we tend to change the meaning to make it feel comfortable. A lot of people who are, I guess, like minorities, like whenever we've been told like bad things such as slurs, for example, like we turn it around and we make it our own. And it is I do like the term. I feel like I fit into that term. I feel like I can find people who understand me under that term of awkward black girl. But the reason it was originated in the first place is because you don't fit into the box of what a black girl should be. And what is that? What is this idea of a black woman that people believe we should be? Like, I've constantly been told that I'm a little bit different. For what? Because I like different music, because I speak a certain way, because I don't want to wear my hair in a certain way, because I dress a certain way. I feel like it's a thing that people have talked about lately, that the UK is like boring, or like stush, or everyone's the same, rat-a-tat, like, you know, that same conversation. And like, especially black British media, we tend to have the same discourse over and over again, the same conversations over and over again. And I will say right here, I will remind you that this podcast is not that. I will never be engaging in those conversations, no. But I have to mention it because, you know, I think that's a big reason why there's certain ideas of what black media is. Like, whatever goes mainstream, it is a very certain genre of people. Not to say it is bad, but it is a certain genre of people who act a certain way, look a certain way, dress a certain way, and anything other than that is usually not recognized. And because that is the mainstream, I guess that's what mainstream is. Anything other than that is weird or awkward. And I guess that's what I am. Like, I dress how I dress, and I love how I dress, and I can't wait to evolve my style even more. But I don't dress like typically very mainstream. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's always been like that, and I think it's cool now. But there was a point of when I didn't. And with hair as well, like, there's certain hairstyles that I just don't feel like me in. Like, don't get me wrong, I will eat a bust down, but the UK black girl, like the idea of a UK black girl, is something that I'm not. And that's okay. Like, the UK black girls, love them, they eat. Like, I am a UK black girl, obviously, because I'm a black girl from the UK. But when everyone knows what UK black girl is, like, talk a certain way, act a certain way, look a certain way, and I'm not necessarily that. So when I find myself in spaces where I am around that, I do kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable, I don't feel like I can completely be myself. And I guess that's from like past experiences of feeling judged around certain people for being who I am. Whenever I am in those spaces with people who are like that or who remind me of those people, I like tend to go into myself. And I am quite a shy person. It's sad because I wasn't shy when I was younger. When I was like in primary school, I was a very much loud, goofy class clown type girl. But as I've grown older and older, I've always been awkward though. Like whenever I first meet you, I'm incredibly awkward. And it's sad, but that's one thing I definitely want to work on this year. No longer being a shy person, but it's hard. Oh my God, it's hard. Like meeting new people is so overwhelming. So overwhelming, especially when I feel like I'm someone who can gauge energies very well. And if I do not feel like the energy in the room is not something that I am matching with, I will like go into myself even more. Yeah, and it's difficult because it's very rare that you feel like you can walk into a space and instantly feel like you can be who you are. Yeah, so it's quite hard to find those spaces. And especially like I think being in London and being someone who isn't in uni, who isn't in any like full-time education anymore, like you're not surrounded by a lot of people who are your age, and I'm constantly surrounded by people who are not my age, and I'm not always in black spaces the way I used to be, because life is not constantly an array of black spaces. So I have to be careful with how much of myself I'm bringing into that room. And I wish I could authentically be myself in every single space, but sometimes it feels like you can't. And I guess that's just how life is. But I do want to no longer mask. I don't want to hide myself. I don't want to hide who I am because you think I'm an idea of something that I'm not. Yeah, what I was saying was that especially like with London, it's very quiet, antisocial, no one speaks to each other. We all know this. But I think it's also overwhelming when there's so many black people in one space. You can't necessarily gauge, are they going to be the type of black people who accept you for who you are, or do they think you're weird? Like that is the thing that I feel all the time. It's like, as comfortable as I am in myself, sometimes when I'm around new black people, I'm like, oh my God, have I gone too far? Have I said a joke that's a bit too much? Do they think I'm weird? Because that's, I guess, what I've been told my whole life, that I'm a bit weird. I think I'm coming to an end because I've definitely rambled on for a very long time. But the point I'm trying to make is that we are not awkward black girls. We are awkward. We are weird. We are strange. We are slightly off-putting. But you are just you. And just because you don't fit a box, you don't fit a certain stereotype or an idea, or you're not really mainstream, like you don't, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you act is not particularly what someone who is a mainstream black woman would do, doesn't mean that you're awkward. It just means that you are yourself, because we can be multiple things. Black women, we are not one particular thing. We're multifaceted, as is every human being. You can be anything you want to be. If you like rock, you like rock. If you like hip hop, you like hip hop. If you want to dress like an emo, you can dress like an emo. If you want to dress like an earthy black girl, you can dress like an earthy black girl. You can do whatever you want. And I guess all these things are considered alt because they're not mainstream. But it doesn't make you any less of a black woman. And it doesn't make you any less beautiful and strong and confident. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that we can do anything and pull it off, do you know how insane that is? Like, do you know how insane that is? I don't know, man. I love black women. I love my people. I love y'all. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are the best. If you are a black woman and you're watching this, like, just know you are it. Like, I love you. I'm in love with you. Like, it's crazy. We are so incredibly powerful and beautiful and strong, and like we just always pull it off. Like I honestly think like the way that we are created, no one can do it like us. Like we are the blueprint of every single thing. So even if you do feel like you are off like mainstream, know that you're the blueprint regardless. You started it first. You are that. You are the original. Do you get it? So yeah, we're just like, who would not love us? You know what I'm saying? And anyone who thinks otherwise, they're a bit of a flop. Like, that's all I gotta say. That's this episode, guys. This was definitely like all over the place because this is the first one after a long time. But it's just something that's kind of been on my mind. Just the idea of never feeling like you fit in any space. And I feel like I will always feel like that. Like no matter how confident I get into myself, like the idea of being a black woman who is slightly different than the norm, I guess, just know that you're beautiful, you're amazing, and being awkward and weird and slightly off-putting, that's special. Like you're different, like you're an individual. You don't follow the norm. You like what you like, and you are what you are, and you're comfortable. And that, I hope you are comfortable in your own skin. I hope you are growing into being comfortable in your own skin. I hope you think that you're cool, because any black woman I know who has like a weird or like not typically normal interest, I always find that so cool. You are cool. Like you don't need to be like mainstream. You don't need to dress or look a certain way. And I don't know, I feel like this is a very old topic, but I feel like as being a black woman, like this has to be a conversation that I'm talking about on if I have a podcast. But I do know a lot of black women who feel like they are awkward and they are weird, and people just don't get them, or people don't get the things they like or what they do, or there's not a lot of black people that they can share those special interests with, and I know that is a thing. So I am someone who, even if the interest isn't similar to mine, I want to know how weird you are. I want to know there's something that's cool about you, something that you don't really feel like you can share with other people. Like I'm down for it. I'm down to learn something. So yeah, being awkward I think is a cool thing. I feel like to be awkward is to be an individual. To be awkward is to be special. The actual definition of awkward, though, to be awkward is to be uncomfortable and abnormal. Do you know how serious that is? Imagine being uncomfortable and abnormal. I think that's sick. Like I make people uncomfortable and I'm abnormal. Why should you be normal? Who said normal is cute? It's not. So be awkward. Like be a bit weird and slightly off-putting to other people, because that means that that you're your own person. Being abnormal and making other people uncomfortable, you're taking up space, because people don't like the fact that you are comfortable in your own skin and you take up that space. As a black woman, listen, we gotta take up space, you know. We have to take up space. You have to walk in a room and know that you're it. Like, do you know how much power we hold? Like, hey, it's serious, you know. And people can feel it when you actually are comfortable in how beautiful and how strong you are. That energy radiates in a room. People feel that energy. People actually like attract towards you because you know you're it. So be awkward, be weird, be slightly off-putting, make other people uncomfortable, be abnormal. Because why would you want to be normal? That's it. Thank you for listening to this episode, guys. I hope you appreciated it. I, again, don't really care, actually, if anyone listens to this. And I'm serious this time. But, yeah. I'm just here, doing my thing. But I know this year is going to bring great thing. I can already feel it. Like, it's already in me that good things are happening. I have literally no doubt in my mind. So I'm not worried, respectfully. I hope everyone has a great week, and thank you for listening to this episode, and I'll see you in the next one, hopefully, maybe. Okay, bye.